Royal expert Richard Kay claimed particular fears have surfaced about the book chipping away at efforts from Charles to win over the public before he succeeds the Queen. Mr. Kay said, "I think the difficulty for Prince Charles, every time now Harry opens his mouth, he's seen to chip away at his father's credibility. And this must be undermining their relationship. They have on the horizon the prospect of Harry's autobiography or memoir. We don't know what's going to be in it." He continued, "But we do know he has spent some time digging into his mother's relationship with his father. They must be dreading the publication of that book and what it will mean. We're edging closer to the Prince of Wales becoming monarch, and every time these embarrassing situations erupt with his son, it reminds people about why they have had problems with the prospect of Charles as king." Mr. Kay noted the Prince of Wales had made significant efforts since the death of Princess Diana in 1997 to reclaim support among the wider public. The bitter feud that erupted between the couple in the run-up to their divorce split the population between supporters of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. The couple's relationship grew so tense their tit-for-tat exchanges in the press became known as the War of the Windsors. Reports over the years have emerged claiming the Queen grew so concerned about the impact the row between her son and his wife could have on the royal family that she ordered them to divorce. And following Diana's tragic death, Prince Charles was forced to launch an unrelenting PR campaign to win over support for his marriage to his now wife Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall. Mr. Kay continued, "He's done his level best over the last 15-20 years to try and rededicate himself to his future subjects, but there are obviously difficulties. People still haven't forgiven or forgotten the Diana years, and Harry's constant reminder about the past makes this a really tricky transition period for Charles." Prince Harry's memoir about his life in the royal family and the aftermath of his move to North America will be released in the year of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Prince Charles and Prince William will be leading efforts to celebrate Her Majesty's 70 years on the throne with a 4-day weekend filled with events marking the special occasion. But we do know he has spent some time digging into his mother's relationship with his father. They must be dreading the publication of that book and what it will mean. We're edging closer to the Prince of Wales becoming monarch, and every time these embarrassing situations erupt with his son, it reminds people about why they have had problems with the prospect of Charles as king. He's done his level best over the last 15-20 years to try and rededicate himself to his future subjects, but there are obviously difficulties. People still haven't forgiven or forgotten the Diana years, and Harry's constant reminder about the past makes this a really tricky transition period for Charles. Another news, Prince Harry's latest political move highlights double standards and blatant sexism with Meghan Markle when it comes to gender in the royal family, an expert has claimed. Danielle Elser pointed out Harry's move to support a campaign to waive immigration fees for foreign-born military veterans in the UK this week, which she says was met with no backlash as she compared it to his wife's political stances. Over recent months, Meghan has received widespread criticism and was slammed after she wrote a letter to U.S. politicians, lobbying for paid parental leave. She then mentioned it on a podcast with New York Times Deal Book Summit and then again on The Ellen Show and said, "As a mom of two, I will do everything that I can to make sure that we can implement that for people." But Elser says that Harry and Meghan have received a completely different reception when speaking on politics. For her, opprobrium and a lot of chest thumping. And for him, crickets, Elser told. On Tuesday, former Defense Minister Johnny Mercer told politicians that he had spoken to Harry about the immigration campaign and said the Duke told him that it is morally right to change the current rules, reports The Telegraph. Elser then highlighted that both Harry and Meghan have done their bit for the Queen and country as she referenced Harry's support to veterans and Meghan lobbying for parental leave. She commented, "It's hard to say for sure what a man marrying into the Queen's family would face if the situation were reversed." The last holder of a Y chromosome to wed a working member of the House of Windsor was Princess Anne's second husband, Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence in 1992. After Tim's union with Anne, the majority of the royal I-dos which have followed have been commoner women marrying princes. Elser then said commoner women who marry into the family have all walked into a blistering trial by tabloid. These women, having traded relatively normal lives for royal captivity, were all, to start with, too much of something. Anything. Everything, she added. Just imagine the deluge of chuntering and indignantly puffed-up chests which Meghan would have faced if it had been she, and not Harry, who had thrown their weight behind the Commonwealth veterans' visa legislation. You would have been able to hear the uproar from here. She added, "It is a shy but unimpeachable fact that women, part of the royal family or not, face an acute degree of scrutiny, criticism and blame that men never, ever will. The longest-serving sovereign in British history might be female, but both inside and outside of palace gates, sexism, miserably, is still alive and kicking."